I think I have to hit it in both places, like in Zoom and on
It says
YouTube.
still waiting on the YouTube channel.
Okay, how about now?
Let's see. Oh, we were live.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh wait, I hear myself. I hear. Okay, let me figure out where I'm coming from.
Remember to mute the YouTube browser or whatever.
Okay, I think I got it.
Okay. Are you hearing yourself?
Nope, this is great.
Okay.
Per-
Looks like
Perfect.
we have some people on.
Yes, if you're here, tell us where you're coming from and tell us that you can hear us and everything.
Yes, please confirm. Not like on Twitch where I have gone an hour into my stream muted and no one told me.
Oh my gosh.
I was literally, my mouth would be moving and no, the audio was not coming out.
Oh my goodness.
Do I count as a
I
viewer since I have it open?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Tell me that you're here.
I have to drink my coffee still, obviously. You made my
I
brain
have
glitch there. Have what?
I haven't seen anybody comment in the chat that they're here with us, but
I
I
don't,
think
how do you comment? Oh, here it is. Here's the chat. Last time I had it popped out. That's why. There we go. Okay. Say something. Did you ever listen to that song by Mariah Carey? I was like really obsessed with the album that song was on. I forgot what it was called
which one
though.
is
It's called Say Something.
I'm giving
It's
up
with
on you
her. You're what?
with Great Big was it Great Big World or was it just is it the Say Something I'm Giving Up on You?
No,
No.
no, it's way before that.
That is way different. Okay, which song is it?
Mariah Carey.
I want to watch that movie. Have you seen the movie?
What movie?
The Mariah Carey movie.
Oh, I didn't know there was one.
Oh my God, I am terrible. It's not Mariah Carey. It's Whitney Houston.
Oh my God. We clearly are our brains are not present today. We have yay. We
Oh,
got some
good.
people saying hi. Okay, so we are working.
Okay, good. I'm glad everybody got to hear that.
Bigfoot. Hello.
Bigfoot. Hi, Shannon.
Shannon's gentle. Aw.
Thank you.
Zebra hugs back to you. But that's what we're doing is we are sharing the light and dark of living with VEDS. So thank you for supporting us by being here.
Mhm.
Classical EDS is
Classical.
pretty tough
Yeah.
as
Hey, Shannon,
well.
I've seen you in the comments on my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining us. I recognize your name. So, should we introduce ourselves for anybody that doesn't
Yeah,
know us? Do you
yeah.
want to start or do you want me to start?
You can start it.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Katie. If you're joining us, you're joining on my YouTube channel, so thank you. Make sure to hit subscribe. There's a plug. I'm Katie. I was diagnosed with vascular EDS in 2017, and since then I've been very involved in advocacy through YouTube and a podcast and my work with the VEDS movement for 3 years, and now I am working as a research coordinator at OHSU. And this
Woo!
channel is not associated with that at all. All right, Bella.
Okay, yeah. So I am Bella. I was diagnosed with VEDS when I was 10, so I have pretty much grown up with the diagnosis. Um, I have devoted a lot of my life, like Katie, to raising awareness for VEDS, just so that way I don't want other people to go through what I've gone through. And I started some social media pages called Investigator on Instagram and Facebook. Mostly started it to share with my family what it's like to live with VEDS, but it's kind of grown since then. And I just literally sharing my day-to-day life and all the ups and downs that come with it. I was part of the committee that helped start the VEDS movement with Katie, and I'm also involved in research with my job. So again, not tied to any of this.
Yeah, and I think this is a great time to say that anything that we say on this live stream is not medical advice or professional advice or anything associated. It's our opinions of, what we know of our lives living with vets.
So,
I will
yep.
say, Bella, like I love your TikToks. I think last year you did, I'm just obsessed with it. So there's one that you did last year for Vets Action Month in October where you were like, you had a skit and you were yourself and you were also a doctor and you were going back and forth and you're like, oh, I have vascular EDS, and there's this part where you go like, oh, that means your skin's stretchy, right? And I just like I die every time I see that. And I
Because we
love
just like
it.
sit there, we're just like, okay. I know I need to be better at posting TikToks. I need to be better at posting in general.
It's hard. I mean, like, so we deal with so much, and it's hard to like. Sometimes it's hard to keep up with.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of living, how have you been this past month since our last chat?
I have been keeping busy with a lot of stuff. So medically, I am doing, relatively really well, but my hips are giving me problems still. Like last year in the summer, I had a problem with IT band syndrome, and I spent several months in PT. And then this year, it seems like it's not the same spot. Like it's not the IT band. It's actually like above my iliac crest where my abdominal muscles meet my hips. So
Mhm.
now I'm back in PT
Where's
for
the
that.
IT band?
The IT band is like on the outside of your hip, like down the side of the leg. It basically like it meets the knee. I'm like showing you down here. You can't see it. But it's where the knee
I'll
like meets
connect.
the
I'll
hip
catch your
on
hand.
the side. Yeah.
I'm below you. Well, I'm
All
below you
right.
on my screen.
So that's the IT band, and it's usually like really prominent in runners. And so when I was diagnosed with IT band syndrome, like my doctor was like, "But you're not a runner." I'm like, yeah, I'm not. I mean, I used to like running, but it's been so long. But yeah, now it's more of the like oblique muscles and the muscles that meet. It's abdominal,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
where everything meets the hips.
So what kind of pain are you having? Is it like just general pain? Is it when you're walking, like you put weight on it?
It's if I'm sitting down or laying down and I first get up, it's just like everything squeezes and it's tight. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't know, it's just like achy and I feel it all the time. And it's better if I just don't ever sit down. Like,
Which is
I'm
like
trying to.
good for the kind of person that you are, because you like to
Right.
be up and going, which reminds me, you've done a lot
Hmm.
hobby wise this past month too.
I have filled my month with a lot of hobbies. Um, I got a hamster. His name is Stuart, and he's
Oh,
adorable.
we need
And I
to have
have a little like
a store
camera.
appearance.
We should, except he's sleeping, and I don't like to wake him up when he's sleeping. But I have a little camera for him, and so I watch what he did every morning when I wake up and I'm drinking my coffee. I can see what he did all through the night.
Oh,
I've been making kombucha. I've planted some edible plants. I've been keeping up with housework that I didn't do before. I made lentil tofu the other day, like out of lentils. You make tofu out of
ooh,
lentils. Like I've just been doing all sorts of
very
stuff. I'm
healthy.
taking vocal lessons again, and I'm everywhere.
Did you say
Hiking.
vocal?
Yeah, vocal lessons.
So you're gonna sing for us?
Absolutely not.
You have to practice. Yeah, you have to practice, right?
I should be practicing, but I have not this week. What have you
And
been up to?
hiking. I haven't really been up to much. I just wanted to comment on you were talking about, oh my God, my brain. Oh, I know. I was gonna ask you how, like, when you're saying you getting back to housework and stuff, how do you tolerate that living with beds?
Mm. So while I was working full time, I really had a hard time keeping up with any amount of housework. Like it was really, really bad, and I needed to I mean, I really needed a house cleaner during that time. Like I could not. I was so tired at the end of the day, I could not do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But now my energy levels are better and I'm doing just fine with it. I'm always conscious that like we live on a house that has, 2 stories and a basement. So it's like 3 stories. It's 3
Yeah.
flights of stairs. And so I'm always conscious mostly about the carrying anything heavy up and down the stairs. So I'm just like finding ways around that. But
Yeah.
otherwise I do pretty okay with it now that I'm not working like full time. I'm
Right.
doing
It
much better
helps.
with it.
for
Yeah, it
sure.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
'Cause I was curious because, it's I feel guilty not being able to keep up with anything. Like I wash dishes maybe once a week. Like I let the sink pile up and then I wash them like on a
Yeah.
weekend or something. And then even then, like I mean, once I get started cleaning too, I can't stop. So that's my fault because I tend to like overdo it. And then so the next day I really pay for it where I'm really tired or it feels like I worked out and I'm literally
Yeah.
just like putting a load in the washer. So
Yes,
it's tough. I mean,
it
I thought
is.
about hiring cleaning services too, but I also don't trust people with my things. Like I would die if they were cleaning around my computer area. I would die. Like just let that dust over. I'll do it.
That's funny.
So yeah,
I'm
that's
really,
my
really
biggest trouble.
particular with cleaning. Like I used to
Yeah.
be before, years before my diagnosis, I used to be very, very like overly clean, I think. And to a point where it was a problem. Like I would have friends over and I'd see something and I would end up pulling out the refrigerator and cleaning behind it while my friends were in the other room playing a game and I'm supposed to be getting a snack and coming back. Like that was before my carotid artery dissection in 2016. But now like during that carotid artery dissection like whole debacle that lasted like a year and a half, I learned how to let things be messy, which I mean, can be good for your energy levels, but then when you start living with other people, they're like,
Yeah.
I
Like
don't understand.
literally every time. I mean, my mom comes frequently to help me with stuff like that. She comes to help me out, but like I've had cousins and friends come visit me and they immediately get to work. Like they start washing the dishes.
Oh,
I had a friend come and she made a bunch of food and froze it for me.
that's
But
so
the funny thing
sweet.
is like they, especially the two boy cousins, like they just saw the mess and they were like, we can handle this. So they cleaned for me. They organized my fridge and threw out all the food.
That's
So
so sweet. So how have
yeah.
you been doing?
So I've
What have you been doing?
been okay. I wanted to address some comments.
Hmm.
I don't know about the bread kit in order to
Oh
make bread
yeah,
in
I made
the
a loaf
machine.
of bread too. I got a bread machine at Goodwill.
I love that. You need to run a page for all of this that you're doing. Add a little bit more work onto
Right, Katie's
it.
hobbies.
Yeah, I think people would find that really interesting.
They would.
There's a lot of TikToks that I find
I know.
I would never do any of that stuff, but I love watching people do it and I love seeing people's excitement. So,
I'm afraid to do something wrong and then have somebody comment like, oh,
yeah,
you're not supposed to do it that way. And then I would just feel like an imposter.
that's
So,
why I'm honestly scared to make TikTok videos because I don't want to go viral on accident. I don't want all those comments. So I just kind of tread lightly on there. And then Shannon also used to sing in the choir at her church.
that is so
That's
cool.
amazing. I think I did like two church choirs when I was in high school. I don't remember why, but I got myself and my cousin to join and we hated it. We're not singers. We're not singers.
I was in choir in like elementary school, and then in middle school, it was all band. Like middle school through college, it was all band. And now I'm like, I want to sing with other people, and I'm trying to find ways to sing with other people. So I feel like vocal lessons are my way to kind of like get back in
Yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe meet other people who like to sing and can tell me where I can go to sing with other people.
Right. How fun. It's like
Yeah.
I went on it was like a Hinge dating app date with this guy like a little bit after the pandemic was kind of slowing down.
Mhm.
And he told me because I was like, oh, I like to just, watch TV. I like to sleep. I was like, I also like to dance, but that's what I go to the clubs for to like relieve stress. And obviously I'm not doing that right now and COVID era. And that he suggested going on Facebook and finding like groups of people that enjoy the same activities. And that
Yeah.
is another way to like find and connect. Because he was like a big bicycling guy. Like he was in a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
bike groups and stuff. So yeah,
I
that's
think that's
always
funny
something to
that
do
like
too.
your date, so on your date he told you he liked sleeping and stuff, but then he also was obviously a big biker.
Oh no,
And
I was the one that
I'm
said
a
I
big
like sleeping.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was like, man, this guy like
Oh,
is really
sorry.
trying to
The
hide his bicycle.
connection back to that was that he was like, you should find a hobby, like join a Facebook group. And I was like, that is my hobby.
You're right.
That is my hobby. So he was trying to suggest with his experience that I should go
I
into like a
see.
dancing Facebook group or something. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to tie
Okay,
that
I
back.
messed that up. Obviously, I have not had enough coffee this morning because
Yeah,
I
I'm still
already
working
mixed
on
up something
mine.
major. I do want to say Shannon gave you some suggestions about laundry, about laundry. If you have laundry, you can install a laundry chute in your house to help with it. That way, the only thing you have to do is go put the clothes in the washer. I actually thought about that, Shannon. We have the washers on the top floor, and I was like really joking with my husband on how we can get some kind of pulley system, like an automatic pulley system where we put it in on the second floor and then hit the button and it's just like, here I am, right on the top floor. And I don't think we really have the space to do it, but it's a really fun idea. Like I'm always thinking of, I find it really fun thinking of really ridiculous ways to make things
To make our
better. Like
lives better.
yeah, we live on a really steep hill, and so when we first moved in, I was like, "Oh, we could build like a little minecart system to get stuff up and down from the alley, And like my husband John is just like, I don't really think that's gonna.
Let me tell you though that like not a wine cart. You can see where my mind is. Not a mine cart, but wagons have saved my life. I mean, so I live in an apartment complex, so I'm not sure I would be able to do a shoot anytime soon. But having a wagon has saved my life with groceries. I hate going to
Yeah,
get groceries just because of the fact like I hate carrying everything.
yeah.
But even when I lived a far walk from my car and stuff, the wagon amazing. Although I did rupture a lot of vessels when I'd have to like put it together and or take it apart.
Mm.
But I also
Is it
rupture
like a?
vessels just carrying the groceries. So
Yeah, I mean, didn't you just rupture something on your
yes.
wrist the other
So
day?
this was actually last night. My phone fell off my bed. And so I was like reaching down to get it. And I don't even know. I feel like it was even more just the pressure of me throwing my hand down than even hitting something. But you could see that this
Hmm.
vein ruptured here. It was pretty painful. It doesn't hurt now. Like I could tap it and it looks a lot worse than what it is. But when it first burst, it gets like a big hematoma, like a bump.
Hmm.
And that's what hurts. So like I already know the feelings. I don't even have to look at my hand to know that it was, a ruptured vein. And then it hurt to like move my hand and stuff. Usually when these happen, if I have a glass of water, like a cold glass or something, I'll just put it on there. But I was obviously in bed. So this is what it looks like today, and then it'll just spread out.
Yeah, I
So
get those on my feet. And do you ever get those on your thumbs from just like grabbing something?
yep,
Fingers, it's the
yep.
worst.
Literally
I
just
know.
grabbing anything.
Anything. And it's just like, oh, hey.
Oh, hey,
Like, it's
remember,
really
you have
obnoxious.
VEDS.
Right? Just a little reminder for you in case you forgot today.
Yes. Well, even like so the past month I finally saved up and decorated my patio outside. So I got a privacy
Oh.
screen where it's like just a bunch of artificial leaves to cover like the patio fence. And all I do is zip tie them. And I pulled a zip tie and I sprained my thumb. Like I could not move my thumb. It hurt so bad. And all I did was pull it. The zip ties are easy.
It's so frustrating.
It is. I call it
I
bruising
find,
season or injury season because it feels like kind of everything happens at once in clusters.
do
I don't know if Shannon, you've experienced anything because I feel like classical is pretty close to VEDS,
yeah,
as far as like our symptoms. I don't know if you guys also have ruptured veins for particularly no reason.
yeah,
Is
let
it,
us know in the comments.
what was I gonna say? But yeah, literally just opening things. And I always feel like a little princess, you know, like ah, I need
I
help.
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever felt like a princess, but when I was first diagnosed, it was kind of like this aha moment where I was like taking a dive into Ehlers-Danlos types, and of course, I was diagnosed with vascular, and I realized that, like my whole life, my thumbs have just like done funny things, and my
Yes,
fingers
mine
don't
do that
stay where they're
too.
supposed to. And I remember it's kind of funny, like I threw away so many can openers in my life because I thought they were broken. And there was a guy like an ex that I was living with for a while, and we went through this period of time, like of probably like a month or less, where we threw away like three can openers because I was like, the can opener is broken again, and I would call him and be like, "Will you get a new can opener on the way home? This is so frustrating. The can opener's broken." And so finally, he came home with a new one, and he's like, he used it and it was fine. And I'm like, why can't I use the can opener? And so when I was diagnosed years later, I'm like, this is why I can't use the can opener because my fingers don't grasp it.
Yes.
And I will tell you, like, when I was diagnosed, I got an electric can opener and it has been absolutely life
Well,
changing.
actually, I kind of want to run to my kitchen and grab what I use because I feel like it could help some other people.
Do
I'm
it,
gonna
do it.
go really quick.
Okay.
Um,
I can be entertaining.
yeah, you're in sing for them.
I'll show them all my different pair I wear.
I can still hear you, so you're talking
Oh,
and I didn't
good.
just dip.
Okay. So this is how I'm going to entertain you, apparently. I have way too many toppers for my glasses. I don't know if you've seen these online, and this is a shameless plug for a company that is not sponsoring me in any way. I just really love their glasses. I got this pair of glasses, and they're magnetic, so everything sticks onto them. Not everything, but the glass toppers. So these ones today are animals. I've got orangutans and
Oh,
panda
those are
bears and stuff
cute.
on them, and I've got like a whole stack of way too many of these.
Literally.
Yeah, and just wear them like
Oh my
this.
God. Wait, turn to the side. Put them on and let me
Okay.
see. That's funny.
All right. I hope you have been
So
entertained.
here it is, the weapon. Just
What is
kidding.
that?
But this isn't from Pampered Chef, this specific one, but I'm sure they have, affordable brands. But this thing, you put it on like any can or anything, and you just twist it and it opens. I open pickle jars, I open jam and jelly so easily with this. Just put it on. It's the best thing of my life.
What is that called?
I don't know, Mom. She's the one that gave this to me. Mom, are you here? I'll have to send you what it's called. I'm gonna keep it here so I'll remember when I get
Okay,
it
that
after.
is
But
awesome.
this
I
is
need one of those.
a game changer for sure.
Because I have
But
those like
also,
those rubber grippy things, and they don't always do the job.
yeah, no, this gets like really hard Gatorade bottles and all that stuff. That like, yeah. So 10 out of 10 recommend that. But also going back to like the electric wine opener, I have strained one of my arm muscles trying to open a bottle of wine with the
Mm.
manual opener. I remember trying to like pull that. I don't remember what I was doing, but I sprained my arm muscle. Like I had to have it wrapped. So one of my friends got me an electric wine opener, and that is also a life changer. And
Yes.
the funny thing is, I feel like well, no, I feel like you're better at it than I am, but I get used to feeling this way or just like accept that life was not made for people like us, that I
Mm.
never really pursue things that can help me. Does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think about until I realized that it was something about my hands that were different than others. And I think that that might be part of the difference, right? Like you knew that you had VEDS from the age of 10 years old. So like I always thought something was wrong with me, but I was told like, oh, there is nothing. And so I figured everybody had the same thing and I was just like weak. I would
Weak.
sit there and do
Yes.
like the hand muscle like exercises. Like I don't know, for marching band actually I think they actually make them for guitarists, but you can use it as a brass player. They make these like things to strengthen your fingers, and it's like a muscle
Yeah, yeah,
machine
yeah,
that you
yeah.
like
I've
push
seen
down on
those.
them. And so I tried those, like I tried also like I just thought it was me. But for a while I thought it was a can opener
I can't believe you
broken.
went through like three can openers. That's funny.
What a waste. Like, I had no idea. But I want to go back because you didn't tell me how you've been over the last
Oh
month.
yeah, yeah. So the ruptured vein, my intestines have been well lately. That's usually my main problem. Also my calf muscle. My left calf muscle I had torn in 2015 and 2016. It's just been like recurrent tears. That has been good so far, but my good knee has not been good. So it happened because I'm assuming it happened. I went to a comic convention. It was really fun. It was my first one ever. It was a lot of walking naturally. So, parking, walking to the convention center, walking in there, my feet, my hips. were killing me. My lower back, like I could not move by the end of it. It was only 2.5 hours that I was walking and
Yeah.
standing. And I was feeling fine. Like, aside from all that pain, that it was relieved when I laid down. But the next day, I again was fine. So it wasn't until like maybe Monday night, which was the day after the comic convention, or Tuesday morning, where I went to work and then my knee was kind of bothering me. And then by the end of the workday, I could barely walk. I was limping. And so I don't know, I sprained my knee somehow. And I think it's just because of all that walking that I did at the comic convention.
Yeah.
It's not bruised, it's not swollen. So I think all of that is good news, but I can't walk. Like I can't put weight on it or anything.
Oh
So
my gosh.
that's been kind of the major thing that I'm worried about is if my bad leg now has to be the main working leg. I don't want my calf muscle to act up because my right
Yeah.
knee is, yeah.
And you've had
But
like a lot of tears with that calf muscle, right?
yeah, I feel like I had to be in that big orthopedic boot at least once a year now. Like that's just a lifelong commitment. Me and the boot, me and Charles.
You named your boot.
Yeah, he's Charles. Um, so aside from that, I've been really sleepy. Like I have motivation and energy now in my head. But I've been so sleepy. I just
Yeah.
haven't been able to get anything done because I don't know. It's sleepy season
Yeah.
too, I guess.
Sleepy season.
Yeah.
Welcome to summer. Um, now,
Why be
do you
outside
want to talk
anyways?
about
It's too
Tears of the
hot.
Kingdom?
Oh my God, I forgot. I forgot about it for 2 seconds. So the
How could you
other
forget?
thing, yeah, no, my Switch is right here peeking out at me too. That's the other thing I've been keeping myself occupied with, is The Legend of Zelda, the new game that came out. I'm just spending countless hours on the Switch. Like it's gotten so bad that even with work, I'm really bad at taking breaks, but I've been allowing myself to take like I'll put a timer on Alexa for like
Oh,
5-10 minutes and I'll play the Switch.
that's
I just can't
awesome.
break myself away from it. It's a really good game. Let's see.
Oh, mom's there. Hi, Fran.
Oh, Shannon's comment about there's been
Different
different
size drawers.
sizes.
I want to
That is
see that
useful.
gadget.
Yeah. So she just says it's a jar opener. She's tried others and they're not as good. It
Okay.
is Pampered Chef brand. Can you see
Pampered
it?
Chef jar
Is it
opener.
backwards? It's backwards on my screen, but as long as it's real, as long as it's the right way. Okay.
Okay.
Like DJs on a morning VEDS show.
Oh, that sounds kind of fun in a
It
morning
does
bed
sound
show.
fun. But yeah, so if you guys play video games and you are considering downloading that new, yeah, see, open Gatorades,
Yep.
open the new Legend of Zelda. Don't do it, but also do it. I can't
Yeah,
wait for you to play it, Katie.
I know, I'm so excited. I have been working on some things, and so I know myself enough to know that I will not work on those things if Tears of the Kingdom is available to me,
Yeah,
because Breath of the Wild was very, very captivating. And I was late to the party. I was late to the Zelda game. Like I started Breath of the Wild just a couple months ago and finished it in like a month and did I don't know how many hundreds of hours playing that game. And I have really, really resisted starting Tears of the Kingdom because I know I won't want to do anything else. I'm trying to wait until the fall. That's my goal. Make it all the way through summer. And then when it starts to get rainy and cold here in Seattle, then start Tears of the Kingdom.
that's perfect. Perfect vibes. Hopefully you don't see any spoilers because my TikTok is now completely full of Tears of the Kingdom clips. It's
I have
horrible.
friends that play and they've showed me a couple of things. Like it turned, like they've told me that there's building, that you can do
There's
building now. And
building.
I'm just like, oh my gosh.
It makes you feel really dumb. I don't know how to build. It makes you feel like I've seen people say like, "Oh, I'm not even playing a video game. I'm studying to get my physics degree." Because they really take that all into account. It's kind of funny.
That is awesome. Bigfoot says War Groove is a good video game. That is a good,
Or
it's like a
groove.
board game. Yeah, it's kind of like a board game.
Oh,
Very strategy. You can play it asynchronous with your friends and it's
online.
yeah,
Oh, that's fun. I
I
love
enjoy
those
that
kinds.
one. Hey Lisa. So good to see you from
Oh,
Norway.
yay. I'm glad to see you here. You and Karna are the most beautiful people.
Hmm.
And Candy Crush. I have never
Candy
gotten
Crush.
into Candy. I mean, I never gave it a try. So I can't say
Right.
like I've never gotten into it, but Solitaire I used to
I
play
love solitaire.
all the time. I even have it on, oh no, it's Sudoku that I have on my iPad
Mm.
for like when I'm on the plane. I love to play Sudoku.
What was that game? Was it 2048? It was
Oh
like
my
a mini
God,
game. I
yes.
was so obsessed with that one
Yeah,
when that
that
came
one
out.
really blew up.
Yep. I still have it, I think, on my phone. Sometimes I play it and I'm just like, wow, this is a throwback. Like I just remember being so like I posted it on
Obsessed.
my Facebook and stuff and
Yeah,
how
yeah.
I finally got out of Wordle. Like just a few days ago I was like, I'm bored of this now.
Really?
I was doing Wordle. I was doing Wordle. Now see, I'm calling
Portal.
it Wordle. I was doing Wordle. I was doing Wordle every day, every morning, and I got bored of it
Yeah.
finally.
I got bored of it pretty quick, but once in a while, I'll just be like, I really want to do a puzzle, and I'll go and do one of them.
I think I got a little. I never downloaded the app, and maybe I should have,
I never
because
did either.
okay, I got like I had a 78 word streak, and then I forgot to do it one morning, and I lost my whole streak. And I was like, oh, I gotta get back to 78. And then while getting back to 78, I forgot about it a few times and I had to start over
Mm,
again. And I'm just like, I think I'm done with
that'll do
this.
it. Yeah, that'll for sure
Yeah.
break it.
It's all about that streak.
Yeah, yeah, it motivates
Mahjong
us.
match 24/7. I think that there's somebody else in the chat that also likes Mahjong, Shannon. I think their name is Bigfoot.
I
I know
never,
the Bigfoot
I never
person.
knew how to play mahjong.
Me neither, but it sounds fun. It sounds really fun.
It does. Like I've seen it in, I saw it in a movie or a TV show, sometime this year. I don't even remember. I watched so much stuff this year, but
Yeah.
it made me want to play it, like to learn it.
Yeah.
Which also, speaking of movies, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So if any of you guys are Marvel lovers, it's a 10 out of 10 movie. I won't say any spoilers, but it's a really good movie. I want to go see it again.
I think it's playing at the theater down the street for me.
It's good. I don't
Yeah.
even, I feel like you don't even have to watch the previous two to like grasp
Okay.
this
That's
full
good to know.
movie. Yeah. Like obviously you're gonna miss some things, but the movie itself is a good, like, you could watch it on its own.
Okay. Good to know because I don't think I caught up with during the pandemic I had to stop going to the movie theaters, which is something I
Yeah.
really, really loved before. And I have not gotten fully back into like the groove of going to see a
Me
movie when it's out.
neither. Me neither. Only for
Yeah.
the Marvel movies. That's the only exception for me. But which actually, the theater that we went to is really nice. I don't know if anybody
Yeah.
has heard of IPic.
Oh
IPic
my
movie
gosh, there's an
theaters.
IPic. We just saw an IPic when we were in town the other day, and we're like, IPic, what is that?
It's bougie and it's expensive, but it is so nice. Like we got there. I mean, first of all, we went in like sweats because it was 10 p.m. and
Hmm.
it was really fancy. But there were other people in sweats too, so we were kind of like, okay. But they have like pods, so like two on the edges, and then in the middle is like the bigger
Hmm.
pods, and then they have the table in the middle. The chairs recline. It's like leather
Oh,
reclining chairs. They give you
wow.
blankets, and it's like very secluded. Like you can't see the people in front of you because it's a pod, or the ones next to you. You're just like in your little thing. It is so nice.
That
Look at
sounds
your
really
face.
nice. I'm like, I'm floored. I mean, you got me with blankets,
Yeah, they have
like the
blankets.
blankets. Yeah, I think I don't know that I would be able to stay awake at 10 p.m. for a movie.
I know.
I,
I just pictured my mom
I,
falling asleep. They're so comfortable. Like,
yeah, I mean, I can't watch anything really. Like anything we try to watch on TV past 7:30 p.m., I'm asleep. It's hard for
yeah.
me to stay awake. But I have usually what I end up doing with their shows that I really love is I watch them at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So like I'll watch it with my husband the night before, I'll fall asleep, he'll finish it, and then the next morning when I'm drinking my coffee, I'll watch
You'll
it
watch
and
it.
catch up. Like it's so bad.
Yeah.
So bad. Like I really wish the movie theaters, if you're a movie theater owner, I know that there's very, very few of us that would probably show up at a movie theater at 7 a.m., but I would. Like,
I will keep you guys in business.
I will like serve me breakfast and coffee, and I would be in a movie theater for
Ooh,
that.
breakfast at a movie theater sounds nice.
It
I could go for
does.
that.
Yeah, be really nice. So we have we've already been on for like 40 minutes, and we have not talked about some of the things that are on our list
Yeah, we
today.
have to. Yeah. We had some people send in some questions. I want to see The Little Mermaid too. I've heard good things about it.
I do want to see that.
And
Yeah.
Lady and the Tramp. They haven't remade it, right? Lady and the
I
Tramp,
don't know if they
or
remade
like
it.
a live action. I don't think they have yet.
I don't think they have. I would go see it though, for
I would
sure.
too. Yeah.
I love that movie.
But yeah, you have the what's on our list?
Okay. So if you want to address some of the questions that came in, we can do that. And
Okay,
I
yeah.
think we already talked about when we got diagnosed. We hit it very, very lightly.
Yeah, we could always if some people have asked questions that we've already covered, that is something where we will be clipping our webinar or our webinar, I mean our lives to
Yeah.
put those specific answers to the questions in a post for you guys to see if you
Yeah,
miss
I think that's
anything.
gonna be on your
It's gonna be me.
investigator.
Yes.
So, why don't we talk about bendiness?
Yes. So one of the
Hey, Scooby.
Scoobs. I know who Scooby is.
I don't.
I won't dox. Oh, I got bit by a mosquito. Look, yesterday
Oh,
I was trying to enjoy my patio and I was trying to work and I was just like watching the mosquitoes the whole time. So I was not productive outside. But anyways, yeah, bendiness. So one of my biggest pet peeves with having VEDS is that doctors think that we have stretchy skin and that we're super bendy. And so, one of the things that they immediately do because they know more of the common types, like the hypermobile type, they'll go and they'll immediately try to see how flexible my joints are. I mean, they're a little bit flexible, obviously more flexible than the general population, especially in the smaller joints. That's where it's predominantly flexible. Like Katie and I showed earlier, like this is
yeah.
probably the extent. Yeah. Oh, you could go even further than me.
I used to be able to touch this to that.
Oh my gosh, that makes my
That's
thumb hurt.
crazy.
Like just thinking about it. And then, the test where they try to, I mean,
Yeah.
I think this is still pretty far, but oh yeah, you're pretty
Yeah,
close.
this one touches for sure.
Yeah, but basically it's on a whole spectrum, just like everything is with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Um, I think the important thing that we wanted to know is just because you do or you do not have joint hypermobility, it doesn't mean that hold on, this was a lot of negatives. It doesn't mean it doesn't exactly, what can you help complete my sandwich?
I'll help you. Your sandwich. So we were talking about this earlier, and the reason it's a pet peeve is because when you go to the doctor and you say you have VEDS and they think that you have another type, like the hypermobile type specifically, usually they think that you have the hypermobile type of EDS and that they associate it with bendiness, and it is part of VEDS. Like this is what we were talking about before. Like bendiness is a part of VEDS. It's just a lot smaller. It's a lot smaller of a part. And in some people, you have very, very little bendiness. Like you just have in the hands. Like I've got my hands and one shoulder, um, and my toes. But there's our people with VEDS that have a lot of bendiness, but what we focus about and what we worry about a lot in VEDS is not the bendiness. Like it's the artery dissections and the organ ruptures and the bowel perforations and the colon perforations and like lung collapses and all these really, really scary things. And so when we go to the doctor and they're like, oh, how bendy are you? It feels like they're missing the point.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think
But
honestly, yeah, that's the extent of like sure we do have, the joint problems and stuff, but the main thing we want to convey is that, this is something serious.
mhm.
Start at the top and then we can work our way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, let's handle the life-threatening things. But it is like, I have heard people say that they've gone to a doctor and said, I think I have vascular EDS, and they're either told like, oh, you're either too bendy to have vascular EDS, or you're not bendy enough to have vascular EDS. And I think neither of those things can really rule out vascular EDS. And so it is important to talk about it and know that it can be associated with VEDS. Like there's people in our community who are a lot bendier than me and do have joint problems and do have a genetic conformation of VEDS. So like whether you're bendy or not, it does not rule out vascular EDS.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that is why we, it's recommended to have genetic testing done to confirm a diagnosis of VEDS, to rule it out, another type of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, just because it's so important in managing like all of the aspects that come with the specific type that a person carries. And if any of you know GATA, I always forget what it stands for. It's Genetic Aortic Disease Association of Canada. Alliance of Canada. Okay, I think it took me a long time to get disease down for some reason, but they just did a webinar where they talked about the importance of genetic testing, not only in managing a person's care, but in research. Just because, farther down the line, if people sign up for research, we can learn more about the genes and, what problems they cause to improve treatment, but also we can learn by the specific variant or mutation within a gene to just make it a more powerful piece of information to guide a person's like management and things. So if anybody here did not get a chance to watch the webinar, if you just Google GATA Canada genetic testing, I think that will that the webinar should come up. GADA, yeah, GATA for that. But it was a really informative webinar because they explained genetics is super confusing to everybody, and they really explained what it means to have a variant in a gene, and they explained how they classify it because it's all on a scale. So that just kind of ties back to where having bendiness or having one piece of this doesn't mean it's the whole picture. Like you have to every single person, this is how I explain it with my patients and participants too, but every single person has their own puzzle that needs to be completed for their medical care. So it's just a little small piece that you have to put together for the diagnosis or your care.
Yeah, I like that, and that was a good webinar. I did sit in on that. It was good. It's really good. So we have that on our list today, and the importance of genetic confirmation, which you just tackled. I want to say last week, I think it was last week, I did what I thought was going to be a short, and for some reason I didn't do it right, and it didn't actually upload as a short. So it's a very short 1 minute and 1 second YouTube video that was supposed to be short. But it was about, I do want to talk about, we didn't talk about this beforehand. It was about what do you mean when you say that you have Ehlers-Danlos, or that your patient has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or that like if you're a journalist, like what does it mean when you say, oh, so and so has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome? And that's like, so you're one of your pet peeves is being called, like asked about the bendiness, and one of mine is when I see journalists or news sources or doctors, write they have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And I don't think that actually means much of anything. Like it means 13 different things. And if you don't specify, then you're really potentially doing damage to somebody, especially like for, vascular EDS. We run up a lot on this in the emergency rooms. If they don't understand the different types of EDS and they don't understand vascular EDS and they mistake us for having hypermobile EDS, it can be, and it has been deadly in the emergency room for people. And I know that, there's so many types of EDS, and it's a pet peeve for me. Like I could just go on a rant about it, and I'm not, but like,
I was just talking to, I forgot who I was talking to recently, but we were saying like, it's not patients' faults for being confused either. Like what doctors really need to do is say like, you have this and you have this type. You can't just say this patient has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, because what does it mean? Like it could be, each gene type or each of the 13 types in itself is a spectrum. And then on a much wider spectrum, like where does that person gonna fall?
It doesn't tell you anything.
That's a good point. It doesn't.
So it's like, that's why, like in the International Classification of Ehlers-Danlos Syndromes from 2017, like each type has a letter in front of it.
Yeah.
And so there is no actual like just EDS, right? There's a letter in front of it and it means something. And if you
Hmm.
drop off that letter, you're misspelling it.
Yes, it's a typo. It's an error.
It's a typo. You're leaving a piece of information out that's very, very important. And with all the different types, I mean, really, they are so different from each other, even
Hmm.
though there is significant overlap too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And that's
wanted
the
to throw
thing
that in
too.
there.
I mean, there's a lot of overlap with a lot of conditions within
Mhm.
like the, if you call them connective tissue, aortopathies, they all share similar phenotypes or symptoms or physical features. And that's even more going back to like getting the genetic testing done to really make sure you have a correct diagnosis.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of people, I mean, joint hypermobility is common in the is oh my god, I'll say popular is common in the general population as well. So it could just be a person that has really significant joint hypermobility and has no medical
Right.
condition. So it's really important to really get down to the bottom of what's going on health wise in
Yeah.
yourself in a person.
100%.
Our
Totally
one of my
agree.
coworkers, she has so many features that sound like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, but she's not affected. Like she
Yeah.
has hip problems, and she can touch her thumb to her her forearm. She's tall and has like long limbs, but
Mhm.
she's I don't want to say a normal person, but she's a not affected person by any
Yeah.
of these mutations.
So benign
Yeah,
joint hypermobility.
yeah.
Very cool. Do we want to talk about access to treatment in Latin America? That was one of the comments that came up.
Yeah. So somebody had asked about that, and the answer is that we don't have an answer, unfortunately. I know that there's somebody from the Marfan Foundation that's in one of the South American countries, no?
I don't remember. So that's a great call out though, because the Marfan Foundation does have a health and resource center staffed by a nurse that does have that information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, we recommend contacting them to see, what resources or what providers would be available or accessible for somebody in Latin America. And even then, some patients or some people do come to the US
Hmm.
for care, especially if you're just wanting to get like that diagnosis done. Also, I mean, if it's for genetic evaluation or genetic testing, a lot of the clinical companies can also help with
Mm.
arranging that even in Latin America. So like
You're talking about like
Genome
Invitae
Medical
or
and Invitae, yeah, those
okay.
companies I think they work with international patients, and they pair them up with a genetic
Okay.
counselor. So
Hey Shannon, thanks for joining us. I hope you have an awesome rest of your
thank
day too.
you. Yes, please enjoy.
So
And thank
wonderful
you
to
for, I
have you
want to say
here.
thank you for the prayers. They're always appreciated. We hope to see you again next time. I
Yes,
would
we're
love
going to be doing
to,
this on the
yeah,
first Saturday of every month.
yes, I would love to learn more about you as well. That's what this is for. Like it's for us
Yeah.
to talk about ourselves and stuff, but we also want to bond with the community.
Yep. For sure. I've thought about starting like a Discord or something for my YouTube community, but then it seems so daunting to manage that kind of thing, so I haven't done
It's
it.
actually not.
It
I mean, like
isn't?
it is, but it's not. I don't do anything in my Discord for the Twitch community. Like,
You just let it
uh,
live there?
I just let it live, and people can do what they want. I created channels as we talked about things. And I was like, this needs a channel. This needs a channel.
That's
And it just kind
awesome.
of like, yeah, it grows from there. But it's a nice place to also post announcements and stuff.
Mm,
Um, I don't know. I think there's a way with YouTube where if you go live, it automatically like posts in the Discord, because that's what I do
ooh.
for my Twitch.
Okay.
Once I'm live, the bot in the Discord, because I think I remember saying YouTube. Like a
Yeah.
lot of the tools that Twitch has, I think are available for YouTube. So
Well, that would be
you
helpful
could
because the only way
totally,
that I can post about it on YouTube, I think, is to do it's like a community tab, and I think hardly anybody sees that. So I
yeah,
don't
I think that
know.
would
Like,
be
if you're here,
fun.
did you get an email telling you that we were live? Like, let me know if you're a subscriber to my channel. Did
Oh,
you get an email about it?
I think I got my notification. but I saw a YouTube one, but I don't see it here anymore.
Hmm.
Did we cover everything on our list?
I was just looking at that and I think that we did. I really think that we did. We didn't go into how we got diagnosed very far, but we know that you were diagnosed when you were 10 and I was diagnosed in 2017 when I was 28. We talked about access to treatment in Latin America, how bendy we are. Did we? We kind of talked about that. We talked about bendiness as a pet peeve, but are any joints other than your hands pet peeve?
Just like my knees and my elbows hyperextend, like my
Okay.
elbow does this. But that's about otherwise
Yeah, I'm trying to
no
think.
no
Do mine?
flexibility whatsoever.
Trying to
I feel like you're like oh that one
that one maybe.
no, I feel
This
like you don't really
shoulder
have
is
it.
hypermobile. Like I can reach all the way
Oh, me
up
too.
here.
I could connect my hands. Well, I used to
Yeah.
until my shoulder injury happened. Oh no, I can still do it.
Yeah.
Feels good. It's
I
really
took
nice because like, you can scratch your own
helpful.
back.
I've always put on all my own
Let's
sunscreen.
do this. Yeah. This is where
I
we
had
don't need help.
stitches. Right. This is where we don't need help. I had stitches on my back for a skin biopsy once, and I took the stitches out myself with this hand in a mirror. So I like looked at the
Oh
mirror
my God. I
and I
can't do it
had,
mirrors.
oh yeah, it was
They
hard.
confuse me.
It reminded me of
Yes.
that. Did you ever play Ori? The game Ori? Oh, I love that game. It's like my favorite. There's a Oh wait, it wasn't in Ori. Yeah, it was in Ori. Sorry. In Ori, there was a level where basically like all of the gravity layers switch. So like if you're left to right, there's a wall that's like this is actually left to right now, and then you go this way, and this is left to right now, but you're
Mm,
walking on the ceiling, and the controls are so confusing because the controls really all stay the same no matter which way you're walking, but your
yeah.
brain has to like it's like a
Yeah.
mirror.
It's
So I think
oh
that's hard.
that would mess me up.
That was like one of the hardest things for me to get through. It was so hard. But I did think that we talked about everything. So if you have any questions for us before we end today, put them in the chat.
The skin biopsy wasn't related to your VEDS diagnosis, right?
No, the same year that I got my VEDS diagnosis, a couple months later, I had a melanoma. And I had a follow up, like just skin checks every few months
Yeah.
after that. And so it was like, they're like, oh, we have melanoma here. We're going to check everywhere. And we're like, oh, this looks suspicious. We're going to take this. So totally unrelated.
Did you have any like complications with it?
No, I mean, usually when I get a biopsy, I've had biopsies several times, either for like skin checks or I had something called elastosis perforans serpaginosa, and that has required a couple biopsies. But if they go deep enough, like when they remove the melanoma, usually what happens is the stitches that they put under the skin that are supposed to dissolve, my skin doesn't hold them. So they'll push out through the skin, and then the ones on the top will kind of just spread out. And so I have to put butterfly bandages around it and just
Mm,
try to hold everything together, even though the stitches are like, nah, I don't want to stay here anymore.
yeah,
Like, that's usually the only kind of complication I get. But I've had stitches so many times, and it seems to only be a problem if it's deep enough to need two layers.
interesting.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about you? Have you had skin biopsies?
Yes, so I had the skin biopsy for the VEDS diagnosis. That was back in 2004. I do remember that I still felt it, so I don't think that they numbed me enough for that. I mean, I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember. I remember that my mom told me that I still felt it. I don't remember the biopsy at all, so I don't think I had any major complications from it. And I think it also helped that my doctor that did it was a hematologist. He was like pretty aware of bleeding complications.
Yeah.
But I have had stitches. It was before the VIDS diagnosis. I was running at my grandma's house. I fell. Oh no, this one was from the one where I fell on the dugout, like my diagnosis. And my knee
Mm.
split open. What happened was I got my stitches out and then I fell on it again at my grandma's
Oh.
house. Um, but the stitches again, that I don't remember either, but my mom said like, they were trying to do the stitches and I was saying that it hurted, and then they were saying that hurt is hurted a word? I was
I
saying that
thought
it
you said
hurted.
hurt it, but
Hurted is not a word.
hurt it is not a word.
No, I was like, that sounds not like that doesn't sound right. Um, But yeah, they were putting the stitches in, and my mom said that it was hurting me. And they were telling her that I was just being a baby. I was 10, like
Mm,
that it was fine. Um, I don't remember if they had to do more stitches than normal, but I didn't have any problems
that's good.
um with that one that I remember. I remember seeing the stitches there on my knee, like
Wait. So you've made it all of this time without having more than like how many times it like I don't know. I can't count on two hands how many times I've had stitches. Like it just is
well, I've
a
had
lot.
like I've had one, two, three. Yeah, I've had three other cuts that needed stitches, but I didn't go. Like the
Okay.
first time it was from a bike pedal from my bike that I was riding. My shin hit it, split it open.
Mhm.
Um, that one by the time we realized my parents that we should have like gone to the hospital, get the stitches, it was already like starting to heal. So my dad
Yeah.
just managed. I remember my dad did a lot of wound care on it and made sure it was clean.
Oh,
Um, so there was that one, and then I had another one when I was. I used to love going country dancing. The country with two-stepping and all that. We were doing a line dance, and this guy like kicked back aggressively through my jeans with his boot, cut me.
oh,
That one should have had stitches, but I did not want to go to the hospital. And it healed fine. And then the other time was 2 years ago, no, a year and a half ago, where my cousin's dog accidentally bit me. She's a totally nice dog, and I think we're playing tug of war,
right.
and her teeth accidentally grazed my
It slipped.
shin instead of the toy. So again, it split open, but
Mhm.
I mean, now, and especially now that I'm a nurse, it's a little bit worse to get me to go to the emergency room. Um, so all I did was like I just held the skin together while my cousin
Yeah.
ran like to CVS to get everything that I needed, and I just managed it, and it's healed fine.
Now, to be
So
clear, you didn't stitch it together yourself. You
I did
used
not
like
stitch it
butterfly
together.
stitches. Okay.
Yeah, and I had actually, I mean, I don't always self do this, you guys. I did message my primary care doctor, like what had happened, the situation. I was up to date on my vaccinations. The dog was up to date on her vaccinations. And I was like, this is how I'm gonna handle it. And he told me to not use the steri strips, keep an eye on it. And they actually prescribed antibiotics for me.
Okay,
So
good.
yeah, it's not always just kind of self-handled by me. But yeah, I remember because I had just put gauze on it and it would keep kind of opening. So what I
Mm,
did, I got the top. So what I did was I got a band-aid and I pulled it over to like hold
yeah,
the cut shut at the top, and that area healed up first, and then the rest started to heal. So yeah, you
that
just
is
kind of
nice.
learn how to deal with these things.
You
We're
do.
basically what is it, war nurses.
Like
Fighting
you
all
just
these
know how to manage
battles.
situations. 110 Scooby. So I wish I knew who Scooby was. But that's okay that I don't. So you have hundreds and hundreds of stitches too, and I feel for you. There have been times that I did not go get stitches, and I definitely needed to, but you learn how to manage it sometimes. I did put a funny, what I thought was a hilarious story on my YouTube channel a couple years ago. Right near the beginning of the pandemic, I did a series of like my life with VEDS. So it was my acrogyria with VEDS, my translucent skin with VEDS, my carotid artery dissection with VEDS, and in that I thought I would do a funny story, and I told the story of my 15 stitch cat scratch and how ridiculous that was.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
it was big. Similar to you, like so when you say the guy like accidentally kicked you and threw your jeans with his boot, he cut it open. So through my pajama pants with his claw, my
Mm.
cat accidentally split open my leg. And I did not want to go to the emergency room, and I very briefly thought about stitching it up myself, but I did not
No.
have anything to sanitize it with, and I ended up going to the ER just because I'm also allergic to cats, and I know the cat claws are pretty gnarly. But it needed 15. It was like a
Oh
15
my
continuous
gosh.
stitch, and the people are like, it's a cat bite." It's like, no, he just jumped off my lap, like he got
Yeah.
spooked, he launched himself off, and it was just like there's I think it was either drinking Ovaltine or tea, and it went everywhere. And I dropped my phone on him. That's what spooked him. Like
Mm.
he was chilling on my lap. I accidentally dropped my phone on him, and there he was gone. and so was my leg. So,
Yeah, my little dog used to bruise me from jumping off my lap
yep,
too. Or even
yeah,
just his little excited, like, you're home, like
yes, those are the
scratch
most
me.
dangerous.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have an 11-month-old puppy right now. He's about 60 pounds, and he gets so excited, and he does not know where his paws are all the time. Like we're getting the jumping out, but he does not know when his paws are on my feet. So I just have like chronic vein ruptures on the
Ooh,
tops of my feet right now. So every time he
yes.
steps on it, it's just like,
Oh God. Well, actually, I remembered a funny story real quick because I know we're at the hour,
yeah.
but I
Oh,
was
yeah, we
thinking
are.
about it before I was going to talk about it, and I don't remember why how I was going to connect it to this, but it kind of works out. It's just like the littlest things happen to us, but then no matter how hard we try to be careful, like we're always going to get injured, right? And I was just remembering the story of when we were all in my kitchen or my parents' kitchen, and there's like a little kitchen island, and then it goes like a U around it, right? So I
Mhm.
remember being on one side of the island. I was standing up, and then my niece was on the other side of the island. I don't know where she was, but her intrusive thoughts made her like there was a fork hanging off of the island, and so she
Oh,
just
no.
did this, and the fork flew across the kitchen and landed prongs into my foot. Like of
I,
all places to land, and like
I have a funny
why?
story like this too. I was in band. As I said, I was in band. And I we were in the band room and I played the euphonium, which is not really part of the story, but there were only two of us, and so the other euphonium player, his name was Matt. He, I asked him to sharpen my pencil because we're all doing our homework on the floor of the band room together, as you do.
Yeah.
And he went over to sharpen his pencil and mine, and for some reason, he just felt like throwing the pencil back to me,
Oh
and
my
it landed in my lip,
god.
like just in it.
Like a dart.
And it didn't bleed like a dart. It didn't bleed or anything. It was just hanging out of my lip, and I'm just like, it was
That
crazy.
is
I'm
crazy.
like, why would you throw a sharpened pencil?
Yes. That's
um,
hilarious.
oh, Fran said, Scooby was, so Fran says that Scooby has a lot of stitches because me and Scooby were not diagnosed when we were little, and
Yeah.
that she watched you like a hawk after your diagnosis because she didn't want you to get hurt. I will say a lot of my stitches they were before my diagnosis, actually, yeah. But they weren't when I was little. A lot of them were when I was an adult too,
That is
or a
really
young adult.
interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Scooby wants to know if either of us have tattoos. How did it do getting it, and do they look normal or do they leak? Did they leak? So I have a video on this on my YouTube channel on tattoos and I think piercings with VEDS. So shameless plug for that video. Do you have any tattoos, Bella, or
I
do you
don't
want me
have
to take this?
tattoos. Yeah, you take it. I have a piercing on my cartilage, but
Okay.
yeah.
So I have tattoos, and most of my tattoos I did not know that I had VEDS when I got them, and they went perfect. Like they did totally fine. I had one that, like, I mean, all tattoos usually hurt when you get them, but I had one that tickled. I don't know, but it's on the back of my neck, and when I got it, I couldn't stop laughing. I don't know if that's related to VEDS or not, but they look totally normal. And then after my diagnosis, I got a couple more tattoos, and this one, I actually can't see it past my microphone, so I'm going to trust that it's there on the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, so I told them that I had VEDS before I got this tattoo, and I said, you really don't need to press very hard. The skin's really thin. I'll probably bleed really easily because now I know. And I swear, the guy that did this did it harder than any tattoo I've ever had in my life. Like he really pressed down on it. The arm swelled to about like it was about this big when I left the tattoo shop. It was very visibly swollen. And then when it healed, it did blow out. So I think that's what you mean, Scooby, by did they look normal or did they leak? The ink blew out underneath the skin and created this like blue tent around this part, like where the dandelion is, and around all here. And there's a little bit, I don't know if you can see it, there's still a little bit there that's bluish.
Mhm.
So that's the ink where he pushed too deeply into the skin and it like went under the layer that it was supposed to and blew out. And so then the rest of this stuff, like it was originally just Willis, This is Willis. It was just Willis and his dandelion and these dark dandelions, and then the owner of the shop fixed it up and added these like very fine line, like the sun and extra dandelion stems and flowers to kind of try to hide that blowout. And then the other tattoo I got with him, it's a tattoo of my cat hanging off of the scar that he created by jumping off my lap. So
I
it's
love
got, there's
that.
like a scar like this big on my thigh, and then my cat Oscar's like hanging off of it. And because this guy knew about this, like he used fine lines, very gentle touch, and it went totally fine.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think my personal opinion, mom, you can plug your ears if you want. But I mean, I think, this kind of goes to like how I feel like we should just continue to live our lives, do what we want to do. Don't let VEDS stop us as long as we know what the potential consequences are, as long as
Mhm.
we're being careful, like we prepare, like, like you said, you should use a finer needle, it
Yep.
can bleed just so that way, what's to stop you from getting a tattoo? This stupid
Right.
condition. Like,
Yeah,
come
I know
on.
lots of people with VEDS with tattoos. And when I
Yeah,
went back and said, hey, like, I think this blew out, the guy that did it was like, I told you I had really thin skin. He's like, yeah, but this usually only happens to people who are like really old that have thin
that's what
skin.
it
I'm like,
is.
this is what
Yeah,
I told you. Like,
yeah. And they
it
still won't
was,
listen.
no, and it just felt like he pushed harder than he needed to. Scooby asked if I have a VEDS tattoo. This is my VEDS tattoo.
It looks like an
Um,
aorta with iliacs. I was eyeing it.
Yes, this is actually the Circle of Willis. So if you look down
Oh,
on your
okay.
head, and if you were gonna like look at the
Yeah.
cross section of this of the brain, that's where all the little arteries connect in the brain. And I found this like when I was diagnosed with my carotid artery dissection, and I was in the ER, kind of like, and I saw a diagram of the Circle of Willis, and I was like, oh, it looks like a little person. And so I know the Circle of Willis isn't usually associated with VEDS, but I made it associated with VEDS, and I gave him his own little pseudoaneurysm here on this artery to represent my own internal artery dissection. And then this to me represents like the diagnosis journey for me. So like when I was diagnosed with VEDS, this is probably more than you actually asked, but I'm giving you the information anyway. So when I was diagnosed, I was really depressed about this diagnosis, and so I have him holding a dandelion, and usually like dandelions, when you they're all hopeful images, right? Like you blow on the dandelion and the dandelions float out, and it's just like this hopeful thing. So I made them all fall because that was like my perception of my diagnosis, and they're all kind of falling to the ground. And then there's one up here that is kind of rainbow color. I don't know if you can see it, but that represents hope that Willis doesn't see. And then I had all the flowers growing from the dandelions that represent all the beautiful things that have come from my diagnosis with VEDS, including like the community members that I've gotten to know and my friends that I've lost to VEDS that have meant a lot to me, and just kind of like all the things that grow from the diagnosis that I didn't know about when I was diagnosed. So that's my VEDS tattoo.
I love that. This should be a
Thank you.
movie.
The whole movie skit right
It's a
there.
really good plot. Real life.
It seems like we have people joining us. So hey, Mimi, Sissy Dollar, good to see you.
Hello.
And Yakanov,
Yasinov.
Yasanov,
Hello.
hi.
What do I do with the chat? Oh, restore chat. I did want to comment on one more thing with the how we like tell people about VEDS and being careful and they just don't listen.
Hmm.
Um, it happened to me in January. I think it was in January when I
Hmm.
went to the emergency room and there was a nurse there. Maybe it was last year sometime, but I'm like, I give my spiel like, hey, I have fragile veins. I'm a good stick. You just have to be careful because they blow very easily.
Hmm.
And she didn't say anything. First thing she did was put the tourniquet on extra tight. I immediately felt a vein rupture from the tourniquet, and I was like, okay. And I had asked her to loosen it, and she didn't say anything. She was just looking for the vein. And after she was ready to poke, she was like, "Do you want me to loosen it?" And I was like, "It's fine. Like the damage is already done." So then she goes in there, and I'm pretty sure that the pressure is crazy high, anyways, because I'm in pain and the
Yeah.
tourniquet's tight. right away the vessel immediately bursts when she goes in there. And then she was like, you weren't kidding, your veins are fragile. And I was like, no, I was
Why would
not
I be
kidding.
kidding?
Like, why would I tell you that? Ugh, I was so mad. I was so mad. So the other girl did it with no problem. She got the other vein. And I was there a full 24 hours. So I went through the end of their shift, a full night shift, and the girl returned for day shift. And then I had to put the IV in for my CT contrast. And it was funny because when I got into the room, she's there again, but it's another nurse that is starting my IV. So I gave her the spiel, and then I was like, a veins fragile, burst easily, good stick. And then she was like, I heard. So I think I traumatized that other nurse. But like, why do you have to get traumatized to listen?
Right.
I'm not just.
What is that? I think that reminds me of a podcast interview I did. I think it was with Christy Postable. I think it was in her interview where she says like she swears that whenever she would try to tell somebody something about how to like they do the exact opposite on purpose.
Yes, I feel like that's
Yeah.
how it kind of goes sometimes.
Yeah, it's scary.
It
It's really
is.
scary. It's frustrating too. Also the talking about emergency rooms, like it always just brings this back to me. Like not long after my diagnosis, I went to the emergency room to rule out a dissection because I had had like a good year and a half of what I didn't know was an artery dissection, and my anxiety was pretty high during this time, right after diagnosis. And the doctor I saw in the emergency room, like he came in. He said, look, I don't know why you're here. Like you have EDS, you're just going to keep coming to the emergency room, and there's no way for me to help you. And really, you shouldn't be here. You should be going out and living your life. And I said, well, I was diagnosed with the vascular type of EDS, and I have an artery dissection, and I want to make sure I'm not currently having another one because my neck pain is back. He was like, look, it doesn't matter what type of EDS you have. It could be type 1, type 3, type 4. It doesn't matter. They're all the same, and you're at no higher risk for a dissection than anybody else in the general
Oh,
population. And I was just like, this is what having VEDS means,
yeah,
that I am at higher risk.
yeah.
Um, Shireen Shalhoub called him and chewed him out.
Gave
I
her a
didn't see him again.
piece of her mind, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I can't attest that she chewed him out. I can only assume that she chewed him out
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
got a scan and I didn't see him again.
I
Like,
don't know, I keep on. This is like a really good topic to cover. We should cover
yes,
emergency room visits on our
we should.
next
I'm gonna write that down.
but like along those lines, this past January, I went to the emergency room for abdominal pain. I had just gotten my chart message from my doctor, from my cardiologist, like 3 days before. And he was like, you're due for a chest CTA. So we're gonna place the order. So I was like, I'm at the ER. I'm gonna ask if they can just add it. I'm already getting a CTA for my
Okay.
abdomen. So I brought it up to the resident, or I think it was a physician's assistant that was taking care of me. And I was like, hey, like my doctor, you could look in my chart. It's there. He ordered it. If you could just add it. And then he was like, well, it's just that if we do it and we find something, we're gonna have to treat it. Those were his words. He was like, we're gonna have to treat it. And I'm like, no shoes. That's what an ER visit is for. And so then I was telling him, like, I have VEDS, I'm at risk for aneurysms, I get these scans like regularly. He was like, well, do you have an aneurysm? And I said, no, the point is to check for one.
Right.
Ugh,
Oh, we
it
should
was
have a
so
whole.
frustrating. We could talk for an hour just
I
on
think we should
ER.
talk about on what is it, July 1st is our next live stream. If you're here with
Yeah,
us, like we're planning to do this every first Saturday of the month as long as we're both available.
yeah.
And I think that next time we should talk about emergency room visits, and y'all can share your emergency room visits in the chat if you want to, and we can dive. I mean, we could talk about this a lot.
I feel like eventually too, what we can do is we can be like those podcasts or TikTokers who have people submit stories and we can read them and react.
Yes, let's
We
do
should
that.
call for submissions for horrible emergency room visits or
Yeah, we
doctor
should.
visits.
We're building our VEDS radio show.
Be a part of
Like,
it, please.
please be a part of it. We love you all.
Yes,
So I
thank
think
you
with
for
that,
hanging out with us.
for sure. I love doing this. I can't wait until July 1st, and I hope that you all come back and join us on July 1st too. It's been great having you, and I guess we'll see you. We'll see you
See
then.
y'all in a month. Thanks,
All right.
Katie.
Thanks, Bella. Still learning how to end the stream.